The Adobe and Figma deal is not going to happen. I was going to make this video a little earlier, and actually last week I recorded this. I think Figma may have a huge problem going into 2024. The Adobe acquisition may not happen, and some of their CEOs' political statements have already led to a lot of people quitting the tool and looking for alternatives. This video is just my thoughts based on what I've noticed Figma, Adobe and others report online, so this is just a personal opinion. Okay, the Adobe acquisition. When Adobe announced that they're gonna acquire Figma for $20 billion, it looked like a smart move. Adobe XD was trailing behind all the other tools, wasn't really that successful, so getting the most popular design tool out there under your belt would be a pretty wise decision. And Figma planned to deliver not just designers but also developers to Adobe, and that's a huge thing. That's because a typical company has one designer for every 10 developers, so realistically they can actually 10x their income. But since then, Adobe had some, let's say, pretty unexpected successes with AI, with Adobe Firefly, with the Photoshop generative AIs. They might not even need a pretty niche industry like UX UI design anymore. And the promise of delivering developers, well, this might fall flat, and let me tell you why. To answer that, we first must bring Steve Ballmer to the stage.
Developers, 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 developers.
So there are 10 developers for every one designer in an average company. And up until now, all those developer seats that were using the inspect mode and getting the assets were completely free. So in Figma, companies only paid for designer editor seats. It was still pretty convoluted, and many people ended up paying way more than they actually expected to pay, because you pay twice or sometimes 3 times if you share the same account between different organizations or different clients. It's done that way on purpose to mislead people and make more money. And then Figma introduced a dedicated developer mode inside their tool. Now, it's not clear whether it's gonna completely replace the inspect mode that's out there right now, and it's unclear on purpose, because from January 2024, this dev mode is going to be paid. Now, the cheapest way to get it is gonna be by just buying an editor seat for $12 and just continuing as the developer being an editor. But realistically, there are higher plans of $25 and $35 as well. For many companies, that's literally thousands of extra dollars every month. So let's look at the 3 main scenarios here. The first one is that the free inspect mode actually remains, and most companies decide to stick with it because most developers think that the dev mode is actually pretty meh. That means that this whole new, highly anticipated feature is actually something that almost nobody wants or needs, and it's not gonna bring Figma the money. Second scenario is that the free inspect mode goes completely away on January 1st, and now every developer is just like dancing dollar signs for the Beatles. But it's likely that many companies will refuse to pay and simply quit using Figma altogether, or switch to other tools like Zeppelin or Sketch or Penpot. And the third scenario is that the beta is going to be extended further, probably with no final date. But this is basically admitting to a loss, admitting that you didn't attract enough customers that are willing to pay $25 or $35 to get a slightly supercharged inspect mode. And both Penpot and Sketch are actually getting more users right now because of that. There is a small exodus from Figma. Well, January is not that far away, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, the future is not that bright for Figma. I hope yours is though, so have a beautiful day.